In your browser, please go to zoom.us/profile/setting. You may need to log into Zoom if you have not already logged in. We will set a few options within this screen. The first one, host video and participants video, will be according to your own establishment and preferences. Please make sure to take safeguarding into account. Audio type, set this to computer audio, so it will use the audio sound on your computer or your mobile device or tablet. Join before host must be disabled. The use personal meeting ID when scheduling a meeting can be left to off, but make sure to use personal meeting ID when starting an instant meeting. Require a password when scheduling new meetings by default will be set to enabled. Require a password for instant meetings and a password for personal meeting ID. These can both be left to disabled. Embed password in meeting link for one-click join, leave to enable. Require password for participants joining by phone can be disabled. Mute participants upon entry. By default it's disabled, and we will be putting everyone into a waiting room. So again, you can turn it on or leave it off. Upcoming meeting reminder, that's disabled by default. Require encryption is disabled by default, and allow meeting participants to send message to all participants under the chat option, that's set to on. We will disable private chat to stop the students talking without the teacher or the host being able to see. Auto save chat will be turned on, so you get a copy of the chat at the end of the meeting. And play sound when participants join or leave. This will be useful when you're focusing on one student or a group of students, and if someone joins or leaves, you can hear a sound, so you get an idea of what's happening in the background. File transfer, this is enabled by default. Feedback to Zoom and display end of meeting survey, these are disabled by default, and we will allow the host to put the attendee on hold. Always show meeting control toolbar. Please enable this, and show Zoom window during screen share. Leave this to disabled. Screen sharing will be left on. Who can share? This will be up to you or your own preferences. By default, it is all participants. Who can start sharing when someone else is sharing? This is set to host only. A disabled desktop or screen share for users. We'll turn this on. So what this means is you can't share your whole desktop, but you'll be able to share specific applications within your screen. Annotation is enabled by default. Allow participants to share whiteboard during a meeting. So we're going to disable this, so you can share it as the host, but the participants won't. Again, this may be a personal preference, and you may want to enable this later. Remote control is enabled by default, and non-verbal feedback and opinions, we're going to enable this, so if you ask the students a question, you'll be able to get feedback a lot quicker. Allow remove participants to rejoin. If you accidentally knock someone out of the classroom, then leave this let's set this setting to enabled. Everyone will be going into a waiting room again, so it shouldn't be an issue. In the meeting, so these are advanced options. You can set a breakout room, and what a breakout room will let you do is put, say, a group of students into a room. They will you will assign them to a room. They will actively have to click accept to go into that room. During the meeting, you won't be able to see their videos, but you can join the room and then see what they are doing and see their videos. Remote support, closed captioning, save captions, far end camera control, they're all off by default. Virtual background is on by default, and identify guest participants in the meeting webinar. We won't have any guest participants, so that can be left to disabled. Auto answer in group chat, only show default email, use HTML format, allow users to select stereo audio, allow users to select original sound, and attention tracking, they're all switched off. Attention tracking, you may want to switch this on, so you can see if a person isn't focusing on the Zoom window, but we need to take safeguarding and privacy into account here. So if you do turn this on, please let the users know that this is enabled. Waiting room, make sure that the waiting room is enabled. So if you are teaching a group of students or a classroom, whoever joins the meeting will always go into a waiting room first, and then you can choose to admit them as and when you want. Show a join from your browser link, that's disabled by default. And email notification, these are turned on, but we will be using instant meetings, so email notification you won't really use too much. Blur the snapshot on iOS task switcher, turn that to on as well, so it will give you some more privacy if you're using your iOS device.